very awful report. And then I ended up going to jail. I went to jail the whole weekend. My family was looking for me. My job was affected. I didn't lose my job, but I was supposed to be on an interview team, which I've never been asked to be on that team again, because I had to lie that day and say I was sick. Because the job that I work as a felon, you will not work there. So that little effect, it went on even further. We dealt with CPS. I had to be placed outside of my home. My parents are elderly. They had to step up. That was a bit much for them to step up, and they trying to keep themselves together because I helped them, and that's a blessing. And so we ended up going through that for about 3 months. That effect of 3 months affected all of us. That was just a little bitty thing. I didn't realize how much of a big effect it was. When I told Tina this, I thought, I didn't realize I had been affected where other people are being affected. I didn't realize how big of an effect it was. And it was. It hurt me to the core, and it still bothers me to this day because certain things I won't do in public. And it just happens like that. But that was just a little bit. And it took a while for my daughter. She kind of went internal. She just shut down, So incarceration, it affects everybody. It really does. I'm going to read this last one and then we'll go on to our next speaker. More children today than ever before are living with their grandparents and other relatives while their parents are in prison, incarcerated parents. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports 2,000 indicate that each state federal prison, that's approximately 600,000 children, have parents who are incarcerated. That's a big number. 600,000. That's way too big. That's why they're able to take a third grade and make a percentage and create more and more prisons. Because we base it on third grade. It's 25 kids in here, only 70% are going to jail, and the other 30 will be successful. That's the type of stats that they're producing for your children. So you gotta get in their ear, you gotta say something, be an active parent, get in their relationship, see what's going on. And if you failed in any place, bring that to your children and let them know. And open up to them, be honest. That's where we lack as parents. We don't be honest. Be honest with yourself first, and then be honest with your kids. Tell them what you did. Tell that story, because that might move them to the very next thing. But anyway, without further due notice, I would like to call up she's my leader, as well as my spiritual mom, awesome lady, Pastor Apostle Rhonda Taylor.
That's my friend, y'all.
I'm wondering why I got a special mic. I guess I'm special. To start out, the young man that was here, awesome testimony. Awesome. Keep doing, both of y'all keep doing what you're doing. You're looking at a woman with many scars. What I'm holding in my hand is things that was rooted. And we as parents, we have to get to the root of the issue. He was talking about, that's why he was all in my Kool-Aid. Everybody always talk about when they cutting trees, they deal with the top of the tree. They cut the tree, but they leave the stump. Okay, but the bottom of the tree can still link up with other roots and still live. Okay, going to myself, starting as a child, I was molested. That's the root. I was molested as a child. Left home at an early age, got pregnant at the age of 15. Well, I had my first child at the age of 15. Those are my grandbabies, those just two of them. Dealt with a man for almost 11 years, abuse. Left home. Leaving home, thinking that I'm going into something else, running from a problem and running into a problem. Okay? So I go and deal with an abusive man, 3 children, lose my identity, not knowing who I am. I'm letting him define who I am. So after finally gathering what was left of me, when I leave, now I don't know who I am. So now I'm searching for love in all the wrong places. So now I link up with a drug dealer. 4 years. I go deal with him 4 years. Traveling back and forth, big time drug dealer. I know some of you already know looked at my show, pastor with goals, pastor with a past, but walking in my promise and my purpose. So I dealt with this young man for 4 years, learned a lot, learned how to cook cocaine and do a whole lot of things. Never took it, never smoked, never did none of that. But being exposed to how to make easy and fast money. You're talking about big time. We was everywhere. Well, traveling back and forth from Miami, New York, Mississippi. We had them everywhere. We had houses everywhere. Big time. Had everything I wanted. I was able to take care of my parents. Well, my mother, because my dad was dead at the time. I was able to give them something that I knew they wanted. Things. So I thought I was doing a good thing by being with a drug dealer. So after a while, he and I traveled to New York. On our way to New York, we get in a car accident. Lose control of the car. Evidence still on me. My finger's still messed up to this day. One body was in the car. It took him an hour to find his body. My boyfriend at the time, his head was bust open from front to back. I only come out with a broken finger. Blood all over my clothes. By the time I get out of the car, we got paramedics, we got fire trucks, helicopters, the news people. Guess who's on the front page? Me. I was on the front page. We ended up getting incarcerated that same day. First time ever getting in trouble. Way out of my zone. Way in Tennessee, Kingston, Tennessee. 6 months. Oh man, I like the lost. Never been locked up. Just literally want to just get rid of myself. Like, man, you did this. How in the world could you get caught up in something like this? Trying to find out who I was through somebody, through money, fast money. That's what everybody like, right? Fast money. You got some people now like fast money. That's what they do. Even some people that's in ministries, fast money. That's what they do. So I get locked up. Telling everybody like, man, I'm gonna kill myself. I can't do this. I just can't. This is not me. I ain't never been locked up, and they talking about giving me 10 years. I can't do this. I cannot do this. I cannot. So I had a sister from Houston. She kept calling the judge. She said, please give my sister another chance. She just got with the wrong crowd. She just give her another chance. We go to court. I'm thinking because I'm a U.S. citizen and they work, that was an advantage. We go to court. They said, give them 10 years, send them back to their cell. I go there crying again. Another month done passed, another month done passed. Only thing I could crying, thinking about my kids. I had 3 children at the time. Thinking about my kids. And the worst thing you could do is lay behind bars when you're not used to being confined, where you have to eat. They left out the bologna sandwiches with nothing on it. Black coffee, they left that part out, if y'all had that. But when the lights go out, you go to bed. When everybody goes, you can sit up in the dark. Toilet right by the door. Everybody I see, and at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to the restroom because I don't know nothing about these ladies. My hand all tied up to my arm, and I can't fight with one hand. And they look, and one lady sitting up, you all in the newspaper, what are you here for? And me trying to be tough, looking at TV. They had a liquor, they been in prison like one time. I'm like, mind your business, lady. Trying to be tough. Because I'm scared. I'm in a room full of women that's been there for a long time. I mean, they had, the one lady said, we got checks where we done written checks all over the place. And I didn't have that testimony. Because I had never been locked up. Oh. In and out of court, in and out of court. I started singing. I began singing, getting my strength back. Because I used to sing when I was in church. When I was a little girl, I used to sing all the time. So I was singing. That was my way of getting my strength. I started singing all the time. Like he was saying, writing, that's what I did. I started writing, but it wasn't books. I was writing music, things that God was giving me. So I kept writing. That was my strength. And the women that was coming in there, I was strengthening those ladies that was coming in there. I was the youngest one in there, by the way. I was the youngest one in there. I was only 19. I was the youngest one in there. Everybody in there was older than me. So I had one cellmate, Caucasian lady, because my hand was messed up. She kept my hair up. She was talking noise, but she ended up actually taking care of me. And she said, you have no business in here. I don't know, how did you get hooked up with those foreigners? How did you get hooked up with them? Money. That's how I got hooked up. Fast life. I love the things that they was giving me. I had my own house, 2 or 3 cars, had money to give away. I was able to take care of not only my children, but my family. Back then, that was it. In the 80s, that was it. Okay. I get free after the 6 months. My oldest daughter was the one that felt it the most. The other 2 were small. But the oldest one kept saying, Mama, you know, I hate you got locked up. I hate you allowed that to happen, because they weren't treating us right in certain areas. Now, my mom, when they was with my mom took good care of them. But when they would go to their dad's house, they would mishandle sometimes. So they said, Mama, we went through some stuff when you wasn't there, and it made my heart sad, but at that point I became angry at a whole lot of stuff. I had built up a lot of anger. Yeah, I was singing while I was in there, and that's what a lot of us do when we're in trouble. We sing for that moment because we're in pain. It's just like when you're doing something crazy and you sad because you got caught until you get ready to do it again. You're not sad, you're only sad because you're busted. That was me. I get out after a while, yeah, I get a good job. I start back hustling. I start back hustling. But this time, I'm doing it. I'm not with the people that's doing it. I'm doing it. But I take it further than that. I'm walking around in broad daylight with Uzis and guns packed in the front. Getting in shootouts in South Dallas. Even over here in West Dallas. A lot of people knew me even in Oak Cliff. I had a reputation. I would knock on the door with a Uzi, and if you offended me, I didn't care if you had kids in your house. I would shoot through the door with you and your kids in there. That's how my mindset was. I was angry. I was angry because what I had experienced as a child, because my mother knew I was being molested. Because it was one of her own children, you shield them. You're thinking you're doing a good thing because this is one of the family members, but you're shielding all the rest of the children. You're taking care of all the rest of the children, but you're leaving me unprotected. And I walked around with that bitterness for years. See, if we're going to get to anything, I know we're dealing with some surface stuff right now, but if you really want to get to the person, get to the root of the problem. See, you cannot. It's just like if you go to the doctor, and I always use this illustration. You go to the doctor and you tell them you got a headache and you know it's your back. Well, guess what? They're going to treat your head, not your back. So, parents, grandparents, in order to help your children, let them know where you come from. My children and my grandchildren, they know my story. I didn't hide it. I had been molested. I've been raped. Yes. I always ask people, what do a rape victim look like? What do a person that's been incarcerated look like? What do a person that's been beaten and left for dead look like? I went through that too. By the man that I was dealing drugs with. Beat me and left me for dead. Disfigured my face. See, we got to get to the root of it. Of why do we get into the positions that we get into? Why do we get linked up? Why do we, as women and men, why do we search for love in all the wrong places and we end up in the wrong place? Because had I not been hooked up with a man that was into drugs and abusive, I wouldn't have been incarcerated. Then I got comfortable with being incarcerated. I told you I became very violent. So anytime anybody did wrong, you called these hands. And I didn't care. I would say, yeah, I don't mind getting locked up. So I almost took one girl out. And it was only because she pulled. I never just messed with anybody. That wasn't my thing. You had to have done something to me then for me to really have you. So I would do crazy stuff like if you got me, I would retaliate. I would let you think. I would let you sleep on it for about a day or so. Then maybe a week or so later, you might see me rolling. I may pull you over and make you think it's a happy moment. And your head is mud. Retaliating. And everybody knew me for that. I had a girl that ran from me for years. Even after I got saved, she running through the bazaar. I said, oh, I don't do that no more. I've been saved since 1991. I don't do that no more, but still don't play with me. You know, I don't do that no more. I don't live that lifestyle anymore. But I have to let them know that for every problem, there is a root. Find out the root before we start messing with the surface. So I began writing. I wrote 3 books. The first book was The Victim Survived. I'm holding 2 of them in my hand. The last book that I wrote was Coming Out of the Grave Clothes. Because a lot of us walk around here looking the part, but we're really walking dead. We sounding good. We talking good, but we still a walking corpse. And there's people out here that's hurting, and they really need to hear your story, your story. They need to hear people like us that know that God can deliver.
That's right, that's right.
He can. Because he did it for me. Yes, I had all my children at a young age. All of them at a young age. I don't regret it. Because they looked at my life. None of them mimicked me. But I had brothers that had been in prison. See, you know, generational curses, because it also talk about on that flyer, breaking generational curses. So where does it start from? See, I said, okay, the brothers, my mom, you said, you know, you act like the boys. You're always fighting. You're always doing this. You're always doing that. I said, well, it started from in the house if you want to get real.
Come on.
If my brother never would have been touching on me, then I wouldn't be looking for men to touch on me. Then when this man that I've been saying I do to for 11 years, dragging me through the house and all 3 of his children, then I get with another man. I want him to tell me it's okay. If he slap me and say he loves me, it's okay.
Come on.
It's not okay. So I agreed to a lot of things that happened in my life, because a lot of us, we messed ourselves up. I didn't get up here to preach, but I'm just telling you that we are rooted in a lot of bitterness, and we need to really come out of the grave clothes. A lot of us are still in grave clothes. And we want to help these children. We're going to have to be honest and open and say, hey, this is what, that's why I say I admire you. Tell the truth. Don't get up and make and tell this person, don't you, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't wear that. Because I was raped. I can tell you why not to. I used to be a model. Before I got tied up with my kid's daddy, I was modeling. I was in school and I was modeling. I got with him, all that went down the drain. And my dad kept telling me, he's going to mess your life up. I didn't see that at the time. It was all lust. It wasn't love. Because love ain't going to hurt. Love is not pain. Yeah, you go through stuff, but it don't hurt like that. So when I went through all that, I'm thinking, okay, it's okay. At least I'm not at home. They fighting all in the house. You got people, the kids, they going home, everybody in the house drinking. Well, that didn't happen in my mom's house, but everybody was fighting. The boys, every time they got drunk, they come and they fighting. Blood everywhere. They fighting, falling over the bed. When I got young, or got older, I said, you know what? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm getting out. When I get grown, because there's a lot of kids think that way when they're in a house and there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff. When I get grown, I'm get out of here. But you know what my ticket was? Getting pregnant. Getting pregnant at the age of 14. Oh yeah, I'm grown now. I can move out. Went so far to lie and tell the man's, the guy that was abusive, his mom, my daddy put me out. Because I didn't want to be in the house. It was crazy. So I get in his house and it's just as crazy. But I'm okay with that because I'm so in love. But it was tearing me down. That every chance that he got when he was drinking, he was abusive. So we may not be dealing with a lot of women and men are incarcerated too for protecting themselves from abuse. So I reach out to a lot of battered women. It's called Speak Out. Minister to battered women and men, because men are abusive, get abused too. Yes. And we don't deal with that. You first got to deal with the child in you. What made you do the things that you did? What caused it? What pain? Where did that come from? Because it came from something. You didn't just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to be a thug. You had to have seen it. You had to have, it's something triggered that. Nobody just wake up and say, I'm a killer. That's right. It had to begin somewhere. I told you where mine started from. It started from my brother tipping in the girls' room and picking me out because I was the youngest, pulling me out the bed and take me in the living room and would molest me faithfully. Faithfully. Okay, so if you get touched at the age of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, would you be curious about intimacy too? You done been touched. Like now, you want to know now, okay, this is what this is feeling like. This is why he doing this to me. You thinking that it's okay. Because if my mom walked in on him and she tells me, well, your daddy will kill him. If he find out that your brother did this to you, you're not putting fear in him, you put it in me. So now you teaching me how to be quiet. So if a man hurt me, be quiet. My sister died from abuse. That's another reason. I'm looking at her growing up. I had to go to her house, help her keep her house, and watched her get abused over and over by a man she had 3 children with. Can you see the pattern? 3 children with. That said he loved her. They've been together for years, and he would beat her. He would do the same thing. I would do the same thing that she went through because I'm looking at her like, if she did it, I can do it. Messed my sister up so bad. Then after he messed her up, you know what he did? Took pictures of other women and hung them on the fridge. My sister ended up losing her mind at the age of 29. 29. She had to move back in with my mom and my dad. I watched that. I watched that. Then she died at the age of 49. Not even being healed. I started getting mad at God at that point. Can I just tell you the truth? Yes. I started getting mad at God. I started questioning God. Then I get married. And I get with a man. I fall in love. This is the right man. He's an army man. Oh, he's a good man. But then he go out and have a baby by an 18-year-old girl. Ooh, God, I'm really mad. The same year, you have a man, he get pregnant, an 18-year-old girl pregnant, and your sister died, and then your nephew drowned, all in the same year. You need to just, he pulled a Job on you, just curse God and die. Just give up. God, he's what is he doing for you? This is how the enemy was talking to me. Where is your God? The one you call your God. Where is he? Why is he allowing all this stuff to happen to you? You got incarcerated more than one time. You done been incarcerated 3 times. It wasn't your fault. You only defended yourself. Did your brother touch you? Did you get raped? Did you get abused over and over again? Every time you get with somebody, they abuse you. What is the problem? What's wrong with you? So I go into depression. Shut down. Shut everybody out. Didn't want to talk to anybody. Family either. Had kids, but to them, mama is here, but she's really not here. Because my mind was literally gone. Taking medicine to go to bed, taking it to wake up, taking it to sleep, hearing voices. The voices say, kill yourself. Kill yourself. But usually you here with your children. Look at you. And you're not worth nothing. Look all the stuff you done been through. You call yourself trying to settle down and be married to a good man. And look what the good man you said is. God said you made that good man a God. That's why I allowed that to happen. When I started really listening and hearing God's voice, God said you made him a God. Because you thought everything was about him. Because he was good to you, everything was about him. He was a bodybuilder. So I used to, everything he did, where you going? What you doing? All because of what? Rejection. What you doing? Why are you doing that? Not knowing who I was. So I made him a God. And God said, okay, since that was your God, let him heal your mind. Let him heal your mind. He couldn't do that. So I kept praying, God, if you just help me. You can heal me if you want to. He said, if I bring you out too early, you're going to go back. You're going to deal with him again because you thinking that's the best you can do of a man. You think that's the best you can do. So let me help you out. I want to treat you like I did the woman at the well. I want you to drink of this water. And when you drink of this water, you will never thirst for a man. You will thirst after the man. And oh baby, when I did, oh yeah, now I've been married almost 15 years, but it's all about God. Oh, I love my spouse, but baby, it's all about God. Anybody that don't want to go along with me with God, they can go kick rocks, baby. I'm telling you, it's all about the Lord. Because that's who kept my mind. That's who kept me. Our God is an awesome God.
Yes, yes.
I wrote 3 books. The last book, Coming Out of the Grave Clothes, I wrote that last year. Because I don't care how saved, sanctified you think you are. I'm telling you, if you still dealing with some issues, you still got some grave clothes on, baby. So it wasn't until last year, actually 2018, I came up out of the grave clothes. And I wrote my last, this is not the last book, but I wrote this book, Coming Out of the Grave Clothes, because that was it. I stepped out them dead garments. I wasn't going back. I wasn't going to be like a dog returning to his vomit and going back to that old mentality of thinking just because. Not only did I write books, but I guess what? I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own businesses. Come on. The ministry is to help people. It don't have nothing to do with money. It has something to do with helping people. And this is what I do. I help battered women and children. That's what I do. And even the ones that's been incarcerated, because I've been there, I know what it feels like. So I'm thankful that my daughter, my spiritual daughter, put something like this on because this is needed. Everything y'all said was awesome. I want to be able to connect with every last one of y'all, every last one, and do something together. Get some stuff on the radio. I have a station, a radio that I'm on every Sunday, and I would love to get in contact with you all and hear your testimonies. We're over 80 countries. I want them to be able to hear your story. Yeah. I want to hear about where you are now. I want to hear about where you went and where you go. Now, where are you going? You was here, but now you're here. Awesome testimony. Awesome testimony. To God be the glory for all that he has done in my life.
Amen. Amen.